Hi, welcome to Mayowa's world. All right, y'all. This is a new setup. I recently got a ring light because I'm in London and there is no sun. Like, it is January. I have not seen the sun. We are in ultra lockdown. This shit is starting to fuck with me. But I have this artificial light, so we're just gonna pretend your girls at the Bahamas. You know what I'm saying? It's giving you artificial light, but it's giving. I am gonna try and make this video and not edit it. I feel like when I make content, I'm a perfectionist for the things that I think I just want to see. And I feel as if I spend so much time trying to edit together my footage in a way that seems cohesive, and it takes up a lot of time. So I want to try and shoot this in one take and not edit, because I just am realizing how much time it takes from me, and it's very difficult for me to focus on other creative endeavors that I am working on, which I will tell you about. But before we get into the creative endeavors, before we get into any of this stuff, you guys, look at my nails. Look at my fucking nails. Like, oh, you can't see the details. Can you see the details? Can you see? And of course, I have to have these too short because I'm living a homosexual lifestyle. So that's that on period. And yes, I'm excited. I'm happy. And then this has this little like gem here on it. But anyway, I have this thing where when I talk on videos, I feel as if, I get so paranoid when I'm editing. Maybe paranoid isn't the right word, but I get like insecure. That's the right word. That I'm not making sense. So I try to like edit things to make sense. And then when I'm editing my stuff back, I'm really harsh on myself. Like, oh, why did you say this word? Or why'd you mess up? And I don't want to do it. Because the reason that I'm trying to spend less time editing YouTube videos is actually multiple reasons. But the first reason is that I'm working on my first feature film. And I'm editing together my first feature film. And I have like roughly edited like an hour and like 40 minutes. And it's just a lot of energy. I'm nowhere near finished. But it's just like editing nonstop just makes it very difficult for me to edit YouTube videos. And I realize that like me making YouTube videos makes it harder for me to invest in bigger projects that just like aren't instant. Because when you make YouTube videos, it's like, it's a topic, you gotta speak on it, you upload it really quickly to make the next one. And it becomes this like production cycle. And I've read this quote about how like as a creative, because even though I make content, I'm like creative as fuck. And it's important for me to be able to have space. So that's why I've taken a break from making YouTube videos. But I have a YouTube video that's on my Patreon. And it was me talking about how like I just don't like making YouTube videos. Not because I don't like the content I speak about. I obviously like to communicate. But because most of my videos become demonetized. It's just like I feel like all my videos have been getting the same amount of views for like years. A lot of my videos just like don't get reached because of the topics that I'm discussing, which is like a lot of stuff about like my vaginal health from birthlessness. Like those videos get demonetized, which is just really sad and disgusting, because why is talking about a vagina mean that it's already considered like inappropriate when it's about like vaginal health? Anyway, so I'm trying to like, and it sucks because it makes you kind of feel like you need to make PG content for YouTube to continue to have your videos monetized. And I feel this like pressure sometimes about like the kind of content that I'm making, because I don't get the same views as like I'm like, if I make other content, I know I can get like a lot of views, but then you're like, I don't know, your integrity and like the things you want, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, fuck it. Let me just try and like talk into a camera, and maybe that will be, you know what I'm saying, more productive for me, while I can still edit my film and still communicate with my YouTube family, because I have really missed y'all. What else is new? I wanted to just kind of like talk about certain things that have been like on my mind, and things that have been just like, yeah. So Jasmine Sullivan released this song, this album. She released a new album. I really like Jasmine Sullivan. And she released a new album, and one song on the track is like colorist as fuck. It's with Anderson Pakk, which I was never really wild for him. But I feel like it's funny. Like when it comes to colorists, bitch. I have a lot of superpowers. But one of my superpowers is that I can just really sense when shit is like anti-black, and I can really sense when shit is colorist. Like I can just like something in my body like doesn't respond well. She had this one song with him. It's called Price Tag, and he had made like a really weird comment. I remember I was in the shower and I was like, did he just say he has a like if someone comes out dark, he had some kind of comment where it was like if my son turns out dark or if my kid turns out dark, he came out or sorry, he had some kind of comment. This is the kind of shit I would want to edit, but I'm gonna leave it in. He had some kind of comment where he was like, I had a kid. The kid came out dark as shit, but I'm light skinned and I'm mixed with Indian, so now you're messing with my what did he say? Now you're messing with like my future or something like this, like some kind of weird comment. And people were like kind of talking about it on Clubhouse, and they just were like, oh, why did Jasmine Sullivan, a dark skinned woman, have a colorist on her song? I just want to clarify that Jasmine Sullivan is not dark skinned. Jasmine Sullivan is brown skin. And I think I have been in a lot of discussions about colorism, featureism, texturism. And I think it's really fat phobia. I think it's really important to like see each thing individually and not clump everything together. Like for example, Jasmine Sullivan is a brown skin, big woman who also has like very black features. And I think a lot of times, sometimes those intersections, people assume that you're dark skinned. But I want to say that I want to point out that she's brown skin. And I also want to iterate that brown skin people do not face colorism. Brown skin people face anti-blackness. And it's really important to separate the two, because I've seen a lot of discourse where brown skin people become centered in discussing colorism, when at the same time brown skin people can still look at a dark skinned person and be like, well, I'm not as dark as you. And I remember like hearing that a lot growing up from brown skin people, like, oh, I'm definitely not as dark as you. And just accepting that as a brown skin person, like, well, I'm not brown skin, but for people who are brown skin, they know that they're not light skinned, so they're aware of how that treatment is, and that treatment is from anti-blackness. And I think that's really important that we use that language when brown skin people talk about that experience, because it isn't colorism. Colorism is discrimination of dark skinned people. So yeah, I want to say she's brown skin, and I want to also say that because she's brown skin, I feel like maybe that's why having someone who's colorist as fuck on the track does not hurt her the same way, because he was talking about his child turning out dark, as like very dark, like I think he called him Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm like a Samuel L. Jackson color. So he's saying like, oh, why did my kid turn out so dark when I'm light? And I'm sure Jasmine was just like, don't relate to me, so that's that on that. But it was really disappointing, and also just the album had like a lot of just kind of toxic rhetoric in there, like I don't know, just the whole name being called Hotels. Like, I'm tired of people using the word hoe if you're not like a sex worker, in terms of like branding yourself as like hoe this, hoe that. Like, I'm just like, yo, where's like the sex worker representation? Like, I just want to hear from their experiences. I want to hear from sex worker experiences. I don't want to hear from girls who like fuck around with like, I don't know, trash dudes, toxic dudes, and then talk about being a hoe in that moment. But then also say like weird, like in her album, she was also saying very contradictory things about like not being a hoe. So I didn't like that. So that was kind of sad for me, because like I was just like, damn. And that's the colorism news of the day. What else? I also saw something else that was colorist that made me very mad. That's all I remembered with that. It has been it has been 6 months almost since I've been kicked out and estranged from my family. And yes, it's really interesting, because I never imagined this for myself. And I know my family, but sometimes some people watch my YouTube videos, so I feel kind of insecure talking about certain things, and I'm trying to be very careful with like my language of what I do share, because I don't want to traumatize or trigger myself. But it's just very difficult right now, because it's like winter time, there's no sun, I'm in England, I'm with my partner, I haven't heard from my family, and it's just difficult. I have a lot of rage, I have a lot of anger. I have a lot of anger at people who can turn their back on family members, people who can turn their back on people because you don't agree with them. But I'm also trying to like reparent myself and be here for myself in a way that I didn't have someone be for me, if that makes sense. So that's why I've just been taking a lot of breaks, just generally, because it's difficult, and I'm learning to like listen to my rhythm, and like listen to like if I get a sign, I'm trying really hard to just like be like, okay, I don't see how the sign is like gonna come to fruition now, but I'm gonna be patient with myself because I know I am here for a reason. I know I have a mission I need to do in my lifetime. And I know that no one can say I'm a liar. No one can say I've lied. No one can say I'm being fake. And with those things being said, I believe that things will work itself out for the best interest for me, and that I'm deserving of being praised, being pampered, being loved, being appreciated. And to like my queer Nigerian kin out there, like, or just sorry, just like queer people in general, queer Black people in general. I'm sorry, not queer Nigerians, because I just think the ways in which being queer, being gay, and getting or being lesbian and getting kicked out and getting disowned, the way that that happens to us like so frequently is heartbreaking and very sad, and is a system of white supremacy, is a system of colonialism. It's one of the things that people just don't want to get with the program, don't want to get their shit together, don't want to like learn to show up for humans regardless of if you agree. And for me, I also feel angry towards the other people in my family who just want to like don't want to didn't want to reach out and just kind of want to just everybody's trying to fit in. Nobody wants to be like, it's so easy to single one person out. And that has been me in like so many situations and so many dynamics in my life. I have always been singled out because I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to shrink myself. And with all the things that I've been through, I think a lot, me getting disowned, me getting kicked out has given me like a lot of courage to stand up to myself, to other people. I didn't realize how much I have been forced as like to be an empathetic person, and forced to be forgiving, and forced to not, actualize the things that make me mad, the things that aren't fair to me, and see the treatment that I actually do deserve many, many times over in my life. Like, this whole process has been great for me, because whenever anyone is coming to me all to any type of weird, or making me feel small, or making me feel uncomfortable, I remind myself, like, I've been through hell. Like, I'm not about to have this person say some off the wall shit to me. Like, I've had my own family kick me out. Like, no, nothing can touch me anymore. Like, in some ways it was the worst feeling and the most traumatic experience, but in another way it also just like made me see my own strength. Like, it made not my own strength, but it made me see, it's like I have nothing to lose type thing. And like I had to kind of come to terms with like what it means, like, I don't want to say, not like what it means to die. But I don't mean that in like I mean that in the sense of like rebirth. Like what it means to be born over, what it means to start again, what it means to, and I think I'm really at a point, especially for 2021, I'm at a point where I am trying to learn to not fear that rebirth, to know that life has to turn over. And you don't know how things happen. Like, if someone told me 10 years ago, like, bitch, you are a lesbian, you won't be in communication with your family, you'll be living in London, and you'll be like able to speak your truth and speak on everything that is honest for you, I would never believe that. So just the same ways in which that truth was able to be possible, I know that a time when things, if I ever have a relationship again, everything is possible because of the circle of life, right? You know what I'm saying? I had to ring it full screen, but and I had to really be real with myself with that. And just it's difficult though. Like, I actually don't want to put myself to be the strong person, because some days I'm not strong. And strength, the way that we have been thinking about strength through this like colonial white supremacist of like strength is like to go and like not seem like things affect you, and I'm not that. I'm learning to be like a lot more comfortable with being honest that I'm in pain, being honest that things don't make me feel good, and some days it's hard. And this quarantine is driving your girl. It's just driving your girl. Your girl's driving. It is very difficult. I'm finding it so hard to just like, I don't know. It's just like the same thing every day. And like in the UK, it's like very bad right now. But I have to just remind myself that there's like gonna be like it's gonna hopefully be like another reality. And I do think that this whole time, like this whole quarantine, like for over an hour, I believe has really given us a certain kind of consciousness, a certain kind of awareness, and a certain kind of like tapping in, like tapping into ourselves, tapping into our like our ancestral powers, tapping into the people who have come before us and the people that we want to bring out in the future. It's just been a real big tap in for a lot of people, and I think that's really beautiful. I'm loving the conversations I'm seeing about colorism, featureism, fat phobia, class. Like I'm all within blackness. Like I'm just absorbing a lot and just really pushing myself to challenge the beliefs that I have. And it's been like, yeah, it's just been a lot of that. Like I'm not even gonna flex, like I've been doing like hella shit. I've been listening a lot, and yeah, I've been watching a lot of Nollywood films. I've been with my partner. I've been eating a lot, eating good. Um, but it's been a tough time. It's been a tough week. Mainly because of, like I said, it's just difficult to not be able to go anywhere. January is just a difficult time for me with family. You know, you miss family, but then you're also just like, but then I also have this anger from everything that happened, and it's like a very righteous kind of anger because I don't think that, I mean, I know what happened to me wasn't right. So I think I'm just now actualizing that and learning different ways of channeling that rage for myself. And not even having to channel. I think sometimes too, we feel like we need to rush things to one thing. Just sitting with it. I'm just sitting with it. But I'm gonna try, like, I know I haven't like been posting a lot on here. Hopefully I'm just gonna upload this. This will not be any problems. I will just allow myself to let go and be like, you know, this is messy. But life's messy. Like that's what I want to bring into 2021. Like life is messy, bro. Like I'm gonna give you a lot of things. And one of the goals I have for myself in 2021 is I don't want to be editing so much. And I want to have these, you know, one-to-one discussions with this ring light, you know, and be able to speak freely, live in my truth. And like I said, I've really had a rebirth. Like I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose. I have everything to gain. Like I am coming to terms with the fact that like there are many deaths and births in my life, and I should never fear any of them. I shouldn't fear social death. I shouldn't fear, you know, I have to learn that there is always, this doesn't end. There's always something else coming. And I have to accept that a lot of times things that happen that seem so traumatic can also be a protection for yourself. So I always feel like my life feels like I'm that, you know, those balloons that are really tall and they like sway like this for cars. Okay, that's kind of a weird one, but like I'm fluid. I'm made of water. I am water. I'm shapeshifter. That's that on period. Yes, that's all I have to say. If y'all want to be engaging in my comment section, period. Thank you. Appreciate it. I love you all. I hope all is well for y'all. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you made it to the end of this 18-minute video, I want y'all to leave me three hearts and say, you that bitch. That's how I know who really be. That's how I know. Okay. Thank you all. Have a good day. Choose.